We had a customer, we scratched his floor, and he's referring us out to customers. How does that work? And the reason is because we're long term. We're not in this for hit and run. You and your team made a mistake, fix it. It's that simple. Every one of our guys that get hired, they know about that experience. They know about what happened and why we are the way that we are. If you have a client and they give you feedback about something and it's not positive, my team is trained to shut up and listen. How to turn a $20,000 mistake by an employee into a marketing tool. We had a customer back in 2010. I think he was one of our first commercial customers. Atlantis Chiropractic out of Linfield. Amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. So one of my technicians went over there. He was a drain technician. At the time, we're actually only a drain cleaning company. So we have these big, heavy duty drain cleaning equipment, and they have two wheels on the back, and they have a solid metal frame, and they probably weigh about 400 pounds. So they're pretty heavy. The way that they're brought in is you hold the frame with your two hands, and then you drag it in walking backwards. So this way you can balance it correctly, because it's a pretty awkward maneuvering piece of equipment. He didn't do that. He carried it from behind. One of the tires fell off, scraped the bamboo floors perpendicular from the way that the treads were, carved up the entire floor. So he called me after he had cleared the drain and said, "Tim, we have a problem." I said, "What's up?" He goes, "I just scratched the floor a little bit." I said, "Send me a picture." His little bit was about 30 feet long, and he didn't just scratch it along with the board, it was perpendicular. So then all the floorboards had to be replaced. What do I do? First year in business, I have no money, I have no idea how to pivot in this situation, but I thought to myself, okay, if I was the customer, what would I want to be a great experience? What would be a great experience in a bad situation? We were called out for a problem to solve the problem, and we created one. It was a quick, instant, okay, I got to do the right thing here. How do I fix this without it killing me? I called my contractor buddy. I told him I needed him there. If he could sand the floor, let's sand it. He calls me and tells me it can't be sanded. It all has to be replaced. I called the chiropractor. I explained to him that the problem was solved, but I apologized, but we created another problem. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Go outside, go out of your office, go out of your, he was in his office doing meetings. I said, go out and look at the hallway. Don't worry though, when you see it, it won't look like that tomorrow. I have someone coming tomorrow. They're going to take care of it. They're going to strip the floor, relay the floor, and then everything is going to look just as good as it was before, if not better." He couldn't believe it because he's had previous contractors that he's done work with. They've made mistakes, and then it's always this like quick scuffle to try to defend yourself and prepare why it's not your fault and why that was out of your control. That's how you lose customers. That's how you ruin relationships. Of course, $20,000 hardwood floor is not ideal, but if it's our fault, just do it. It didn't go through insurance. I just put it on the credit card. I paid for the floor. That gentleman has referred us out to so many companies and so many clients, all because we did the right thing. We scratched his floor and he's referring us out to customers. How does that work? We charged him for the drain cleaning, and then we paid for the floor to be fixed, of course, and now we get all this business generated from him, all because we did the right thing. What most people do, and I'm connected with a lot of people that don't know how to operate in this function, they call the customer, try to argue with the customer, they drag out the process for when that problem gets resolved that they caused, the contractor, and then now all you're doing is creating frustration. You're giving the client ammunition to tell the world about how crappy of a contractor you are, and all for what? Because you didn't know how to make a quick decision and see that you and your team made a mistake, fix it. It's that simple. So I hope this is valuable for everyone that's listening. And if it's not, It'll eventually be valuable because you will make the mistakes that I have made, and hopefully you learn from them, because this way moving forward you can start running a good business that creates clients long term versus short term hit and runs. That point, we changed everything. We changed how we call the customer, what we do if there's a problem that we caused or that we didn't cause and we identify it, what we do. It helped us outline a clean process for what we do and how we do it, and we documented it, and now every single job gets a checklist. You're to check off all these boxes on the checklist or you don't leave the job. If you do, then our dispatcher won't send you to another job. And it's that simple. We don't do it because we want to micromanage people, but we do want to manage the customer experience. If we can't control the client experience, we don't have a predictable business, and then we can't continue to serve that client on a high level, which means they will eventually find someone else to serve them. For me and for Super Service Today, that's not an option. We will not be beat by customer experience. It just won't happen. And the reason is because we're long term. We're not in this for hit and run. Kevin, we want to be able to have a client for one experience and then have them for a lifetime. And the only way that happens is by paying attention to each call like it's your only call every day. Also, every one of our guys that get hired, they know about that experience. They know about what happened and why we are the way that we are. Every change and adjustment, we're always changing, by the way. Every single day, we change something. So it's funny, Dave has been with me for almost 10 years now. And like a broken record, he still says it today. Oh my goodness, another change? Every day there's something changing. And I joke around with him. I'm like, Dave, if you don't know by now that things are always going to change and you're always going to have to pivot, then I'm going to chop you in the neck. And he just starts cracking up. And he's like, I know, where people have changed, we adjust to increase the customer experience. That's what it is. It's like, if you have a client and they give you feedback about something and it's not positive, my team is trained to shut up and listen. Because even if there's no truth in that for the individual that's listening to it, there's truth in that somewhere. And it might just be the person's perspective. Listen, because they're going to give us gold that we would, in theory, have to pay for. And usually the payment is in terms of losing a customer because we didn't know how to listen to what they needed. It's so simple to shut up and listen, but we get so ahead of ourselves thinking that we know more, and that's why clients will jump from company to company, because the company is so self-focused on what they need versus what the client needs, and that disrupts the whole process. I believe that if the founder and the organization is focused long-term at serving the client at the highest level, they won't have to rush through anything. They'll be able to serve the client. The client will never want to go anywhere else. They'll want to keep using the same company because you're consistent with serving that client the way that they need to be served. The customer's always right is 100% true. It's 100% true. No matter what, they're right. So the concept of the customer's always right is what we consider total ownership. So we match total ownership with the customer is always right with, if we know that the customer is always right, and we know that means complete ownership. No matter what they say, we can't give pushback. We have to just listen. And then we have to understand, what is it that they're asking for, and what is it that we offer? How can we match those two to the best of our ability? Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we can't accommodate a certain type of customer. And I've realized over the years that that's a thing. I fought that for the longest time because I thought everyone was my customer. I thought everyone was our client. Anyone that had water, sewer, drains, excavation needs, they were our customer. They're not. Some people want a Band-Aid fix that's not going to last. Some people want us to cut corners and do things in a way that will put the team and their safety at risk. For us, it's easy to say no to that because we're not going to run the risk. I'm not going to teach my team how to do things the wrong way, first and foremost. Second, When a customer is asking you to cut corners or do things that are going to increase your risk for them and for the team, they don't actually know what they're asking for. So it's your job as the professional to tell them, no, you can't do that because of this. Engineers and certain type A's will not allow you to control the situation. You just have to know, this is my craft, this is the company that I represent, this is how we do things, and we don't negotiate. There's a number of things that you just don't take risks on. And safety, reliability, and health are those three things. You don't jeopardize cutting a corner to save a customer a couple of dollars. It's just not what we do. And that's been the greatest benefit of how we operate today, because our clients that call us, most of our clients don't even get second, third bids because they know what type of people we are. They know what we do and how we do it. So as much as I'd love to serve every customer, every client, I know that they're not all our clients. Some people will hear us deliver the most reliable solution that aligns with exactly what they want, and the price point is the hang up, and then they hire someone else to do the thing that they said was going to do it exactly like us, and then they hire us again to fix it. That happens way too often. And I feel guilty because now they've not just paid what the other person got them on, but they've paid the original price of what we quoted. And when everyone that they were talking to said that's an outrageous price, we've accepted that. People are going to say that our price is expensive. People are going to say or think that we're trying to take advantage of them. It's the hardest thing as a founder to hear a consumer think that I or the organization would ever take advantage of anyone. I wish I could show everyone our P&L just to show them how we're not taking advantage of anyone. We're just trying to help and do the right thing. But it costs money to do the right thing. It costs money to do things the right way. It happens to everybody, no matter what. It's just a matter of when. So for you to think that those things are not going to happen to you, you're crazy. You have to document this stuff because these processes are going to elevate the customer experience. If your only obsession is the customer experience, you will always win. Customer experience results in your team being busy, results in better reviews, results in more applicants to be able to add to your team, which results in a better, healthier company. So if you're sick and tired of consuming content from people that are not in business or that have sold their business, and you want to learn from a servant leader, someone that puts their people first and is going to continue to grow and evolve and document the entire process without feeding you some nonsense, like, subscribe, and follow.